What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production! All aboard!
I brought my pencil!
Yeah! Like anything gets to say like you did before. Make it ring, make it bleed, make it really.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rank 'Em All. We are the only podcast that goes through one band's individual discography, going through every single song, ranking them sons of bitches for you guys, giving our thoughts and opinions, and then, coming up with a master rank at the end of the series. So look forward to that when we get there. We are on Ghost. Today, joining me, as always, he is the pod master, the OGest of the OGs. Welcome back once again, Brando.
What is up, Tunerinos? Welcome back to Rank 'Em All. Nate, it's cool to be back here once again. We are making pretty good rate and progress, all things considered, since we started this. This show, podcasting for us used to be once a week or twice a week, thrice a week. That's how often we would record, and it's crazy to think that now it's like been reduced to mostly just monthly. But that's better than how our rate was for the other bands that we've done. I think that Van Halen broke records for how long it took to come out. It was almost as long as Chinese Democracy. But we are not alone, yes. Nate. We are
not alone.
Once again, here on the Ghost sessions of Rank 'Em All, welcome the stepdad of the Journey Comics Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm back to give you mediocre comments on a band that I like.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. I can't wait to
The
hear
expectations
what you guys...
low like a stepdad.
Oh, I like that. Okay, great. And then if it exceeds expectations, we're happy with you this weekend.
Yep, then I'm a good stepdad and not just a stereotypical stepdad.
I love that. But again, we've got one more with us. You guys know her and love her from all the episodes we've done so far. Welcome back, Sister Crimson. Once again, Andy, how's it going?
Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for having me back once again. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is honestly, so this week, let's just go ahead and talk about it right away. We are doing Prequelle, the fourth official studio album from Ghost. It was released in June 1st of 2018. So we're kind of taking a little bit of a closer trip back in time. This is a more recent album for most of us. Honestly, I'm just going to say one thing to get it out of the way because I feel like it's going to end up being partially a topic of conversation with a lot of songs. So a little bit of a start with a downer. We'll bring this shit up. When this album came out, okay, like literally within 2 weeks, I think it was, of the album coming out, my uncle unexpectedly, tragically passed away. This album is nothing but themes about death. And I'm already absorbing the album and I like it and I like checking it out. But then it partially in some parts talked to me and helped me cope to get through. And there are gonna probably be some moments where I might be a little bit emotional when I'm talking about some of these songs, but they definitely hit close to home with me. What about you guys? Where is this album as far as your histrionics? What's it make you think of?
I'd say it's like a transition. When I was listening back to it, it kind of felt a little bit all over the place, even though there was like some great tracks in there and I was like digging into them and trying to put myself into Bias's shoes, like where he was creatively and how he was trying to change the sound maybe. So I don't know. It was just interesting to go through these songs with that perspective in mind.
Yeah, love that. Brando, what about you?
So I remember when the album came out and I listened to it, and for some reason at the time it didn't click. It wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it, but it just didn't click, man. I wasn't as big of a Ghost fan as I am today. Cerise had come out, and I'd listened to at least the full spin of Melior, but still liked Cerise. It was like my standout track. And when I got, when this came out and started hearing some of the singles, like, all right, that's cool. Maybe not as good as Cerise. That was still the gold standard for me. And then I kind of went into listen to other stuff. The band had not moved into kind of top tier yet for me. But on this re-listen, it hit different. 100% different than what it hit the first time. And I'm excited to talk about it.
Awesome. TY, what about you? Is this like a go back and re-listen, or is it a first pass? Where are you at?
It's a little bit of both for me. 2018 was one of those years I remember back vividly. Just, I was in total grind mode. I feel like between our podcasting and 2018, that's the year that I started the apprenticeship. Left Subaru. So that was a big transition year for me. And here lately, besides this album, a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to, funny enough, multiple albums debuted in 2018, and just going through like my For You Spotify page or for my like songs or whatever, I've noticed a trend here that there are some really, really, really kick-ass albums that came out in 2018, and there's definitely a lot on this album that maybe back then I don't know if it was just because I was so grind mode, totally missed it. And I'm really glad that we're doing this, because there's a couple songs on here that I don't think I'd heard at all, and I ended up really liking them. So excited to talk about this one.
Well, let's stop chitter chattering and pitter pattering. Let's get down to it. Let's just really quickly. You took a drink. It was the best time to do that. There were 3 singles on this album. We will discuss them relatively quickly once we get to each of them, because they're pretty all early in the album itself. But we're going to start off with the very first track on Prequelle, which was Ashes. I'm going to take the lead on this one. I do have the little rundown of who's going to be talking first, just so you guys know, to help streamline everything. Honestly, Ashes is, if you haven't heard the song, you're a Ghost fan and somehow you missed this. It is honestly like a creepy reimagining of Ring Around the Rosie. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Tobias's daughter is the lead vocal in that track, which is really fucking cool. And then I love the music starts to get heavy, it starts to build, then the synth comes in and you're like, okay, something's happening here. I'm really excited. It's not really a typical Ghost intro. It isn't really a religious experience per se. It's more creepy and kind of unsettling in a really cool way, but they also tell you like really early on, hey, we've got these different aggressive tones we're going to be messing with in this album, and you guys are going to fucking love it. So get ready for this ride. We're going to go to TY next. What are your thoughts on Ashes?
The childish vocals in the beginning of that song definitely gets the point across that it's trying to be unsettling. I tell you what, I didn't dig like the, I know it's only a minute and a half, but the beginning, not really my jam. But I tell you what, if you would have taken the second half of this little intro piece and stretched it out and made it into a whole song, then I think I would have really liked it. Just because once like Nate said, once the guitar and the synth comes in, it's pretty good stuff. So
definitely creeps in there.
For sure.
Brando.
So, these are so hard to rank because sometimes, man, they're perfect. Maybe they're perfect just for that album. Maybe they're suitable. Maybe, sometimes tracks like these, whether they're an intro to an album or just like a little segue, it's like when you're listening to an album, maybe like all the way through, it makes sense. But it's like, if you're going to pick through songs, you might skip around. Would you ever listen to it again? And this kind of falls in that category. However, I think I know why they did this, and it was probably to start the show. In a live setting, that's why that early part, TY, is why probably the way it is. It's like that hum, and you have all those big subs, and you feel it right here in your gullet, and you're like, oh, that's that bass, and
the show's starting.
And it's the creepiness, and it's the Ring Around the Road, and then what song do they probably go into on that? Rat, in the next one. Yeah. So it's like boom, kick you right in. It's like, on that sense, I love it. On an album, I don't necessarily need it. It does fit as we've all said it definitely serves its purpose and starts the mood off. But they're definitely hard to rank because it can be how you feel about it at that moment. Like, you could say right now you hate it. Later on, you might actually, you know what, this does work. But only when you see it live. So. Well,
and for me, I think one of the things that I do like about this intro track is we've talked about the transitions a lot from the intro track into the first track on the song, and I actually liked that this one's boom. It's just abrupt right into Rats, and it's going. So, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I like about it. It's just like you said, it's it feels bad to put a super low number on it. I know we've talked about this a bunch, but it's definitely tough to rank for sure.
Andy, what's the thought?
Y'all took all the words out of my mouth.
That happens.
But I will add, though, what I added was this track tries to set the tone of this new era, because at this point we don't have a Papa. Who, like, the only thing we had from Ghost before Rats on the Road was this back shot of a mysterious figure with a cane. So that was the note that I had. I was like, who is Cardinal Copia? Where does he fit throughout Ghost? And everything y'all said, I agree with. I don't think it works too well for the album, but I loved it live when I saw it live. That was like a whole other experience. Cool. And I do feel bad also, like, oh, I don't want to rank it too high or low, but it just kind of, it is what it is. It works well live. I love the transition, but it's basically it.
Okay, so let's get it out of the way. What's the rank, Andy?
4.
Okay, Brando.
7.
TY.
I gave it a 6. A little middler.
I gave it a 7-11.
Okay.
Not a joke. It's
Come
right
on,
there.
Nate.
7-11.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I don't think I spoiled my next one's rank. I hope not. If you caught that on the feed, then good for you. You're
you
gonna
go.
know where I'm sitting.
Yeah,
If you're zooming
a
in.
little tidbit.
But let's
Pause
kick
that frame.
let's kick it over for Rats. Andy, lead it off. Give us your thoughts and love.
I love the pacing on this song, how aggressive it comes in, and especially if you had never heard it before. I think this single came out before the tour started, so we already had like a taste. Admittedly, when I saw the track name when it first came out, I was like, how can you make a song about rats? How are you going to make it sound cool? But it's turned into like a super popular song, and I really love what it does to the live crowd. And I like the themes of the plague, the Black Death, because it also starts getting my wheels turning. Okay, it's like, where are we going with this, Tobias? I love how catchy it is. I love the doom and gloom. We're singing about death, but we're having fun about it. So that's like one of my favorite tracks off this album.
Awesome. I love that the drums take the lead in the first part of this. Like right away, it has this like aggressive, like 80s hair metal, gonna kick your ass type vibe. You know, like I don't want to say Motley Crue, but it definitely like kind of gives me that vibe a little bit. That catchy riff comes in and you're hooked automatically. I will say that this song starts a theme that's not entirely throughout the whole album. There's only like maybe 2 or 3 tracks that really do this. But Rats to me is not only about the Black Plague, it is speaking about the rats that were around Tobias, that outed him, that changed the course of Ghost forever, because he had a certain level of anonymity through fucking 3 really successful albums, and that was crushed. And the concept of the Black Plague is what is it? Once you catch it and someone's next to you, they probably got it too, right? So it's like you can't trust anybody. Everybody's a rat, and I really dig that. Speaking of that, the former band, does this also somehow album predict COVID? Like it comes out almost 2 years before we're talking about plagues and really weird darkness. It's like so on the fucking nose. Wild. Just wild.
That's what
how
everybody
in
was
tune he is.
saying. Like when COVID happened, they're like, Ghost did this like before.
Yeah, they willed it into existence.
Papa, or Cardinal as he is in this album, is so dialed in on this track too. I fucking love that. The chorus is wicked. It's like really just wicked in your face, kind of dirty. The dual guitar lead is awesome, and they put it in a perfect place. Like they do this lead that launches into the solo. The solo takes off, and honestly, you guys, we came here. This album, we're gonna say special words we may never say on Ghost albums ever again. Here's one for you: harpsichord. We get a dope harpsichord breakdown, and the first time I heard that, I was like, I love that. I can't get enough of that. Give me more. Heavy outro was dope. TY.
Man, you rolled right into what I was going to bring up right away. That heavy outro, and just how it keeps it keeps the tempo going, and the like the reverberating vocals in the background. You know, when you've got your headphones really dialed in, you can hear it. And but as far as notes go, I'm telling you right now, they on Here We Are Again, and they've got another track that's absolute radio gold. You know, right now sitting on Spotify, basically 78 million streams. You know, just on this one platform, like always we talk about. So catchy. The guitar solo right in the middle of the song, absolute banger.
Yep.
Mic drop. A rat runs up and steals it.
Brando.
Nate mentioned Motley Crue, and I respectfully disagree. Listen to the guitar tone for that riff. And the way it's played. Rat.
Oh, that's clever.
It's fucking Rat.
Yep.
It is, and you know when you know when that clicked for me? Today. I was finalizing stuff. I'm thinking about stuff, and I'm just like digging that tone, man. I'm like, that's a badass riff. And you know, it's like, and I've always liked the riff. I've always liked the song. You know, as I said in the intro, you know, even though it's a good song, it just didn't hit the same. I like the heaviness and the darkness of Cerise, and that's where I was. But this song was cool. I really loved it. It was a different, because you had that video for Cerise, like a horror movie, and this was like a musical. That video is like a damn musical, and it's so cool. It's just so different. It's a different vibe, just like Andy said, having fun. And the whole musical vibe, dancing around, it's like...
Ghost does Thriller.
Yeah. It's their Thriller. And it just was like, is this the same band? Is this because it's so different, but awesome at the same time. Imagine now, okay, so we've all just praised the song and talked about how cool the chorus is and catchy. Take the ahs away. Is it as catchy? Just the rats.
No.
Rats.
The ahs.
I think so, though, because
so they do it the first time, right?
You could throw in some real nasty guitar and totally not have that backing vocal in, and I think it would still be, it might be a chunkier song, but I still think it'd be just as catchy.
I think it would be a bit of a step down because of this point. He has showcased his ability to write a hook with one word and 3 non-words.
Yeah.
He wrote a fucking hook that is catchy as hell, that has the whole crowd singing. I heard it. I was there. I was with him.
Right.
And he just growls rats and the background singers, and it's like this, it's that glamour. It's that musical, you know? And it's like, son of a bitch. Now he's just now he knows what he's doing, because we've talked about his progression of songwriting.
The formula down.
You might hear that word from me again later on. He's figured it out. He has started to tap into more of his roots of music that he grew up with, and has evolved that sound even more here. And he's he's grown as a musician, and he's figured stuff out. He now, he's had so much progression, because what was in between, you know, Meliora and this, it's Square Hammer. And I think with Square Hammer, he figured it out of how can I still make a cool song? How can I make it to where everybody's singing it? Because that's what's fun about a concert. You all want to be just singing right along, headbanging, you know. And he figured it out. And it's just, you've already mentioned the cool outro. It's so fucking cool, but I'm also disappointed because I want to hear a full song based off that riff structure. I want to hear, because it's so heavy. It's like, I want more. Anyway, great song. Love it.
Give us your rank, Brando.
9.5.
TY.
70+ million plays. I'm giving this one a 10.
Oh, damn. I'm giving it a 9.25. Andy.
8.7.
All right. Radical. We are on to Faith. So much to be said about this song. We're starting with TY, though. Kick it off, brother.
I think
Faith is yours.
The Faith is mine. Heavy is the definition of this song. It's definitely
First
the heavy
word I wrote.
Yep, it's definitely. I love that because that's the first word that I wrote too. It's definitely the heaviest song on the album, and I would have appreciated a little bit more of this maybe carrying through, but just the how throughout the song the guitar and the drums keep that heavy tone, and I don't have a bunch of notes for this one.
It's okay.
Yeah. I just, to go with that creepy intro and then right into Rats, it's so I don't want to say uplifting, but we talked about that. It's so like almost whimsical. It's got such a miserable tone, but then it's got that like lighthearted feeling, and then it rolls right into this, and it's just so heavy and chunky, and I like it a lot.
Brando.
So I'm gonna break the cycle. My first word I wrote was not heavy, but I wrote a very interesting sentence. I said the riff salad here is appetizing.
I like that.
There's so much riff salad in this song, man. I love that pause in the verse.
Yep. Wow.
And it drop right back in. That's so cool because some of my favorite bands do like weird pause stops. They do weird riff. They'll be playing along with a rhythm and then they'll go staccato. Metallica does this a lot. It's like the riffs go staccato, ta 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 ta, and then they'll play another riff, and then all of a sudden there's one section where they're in a groove and like a real 4/4 beat, and you're like, okay, now I'm grooving, and then like, okay, we're gonna go over here and play this riff. This was a little bit more structured than that. The chorus is epic sounding, and this song sounds to me. What I really ended up liking about this is that, as we said, it's heavier. It's a little bit more straight up heavy metal, and I mentioned Metallica. Honestly, I didn't write that part down, but this song is very Dream Theater meets Metallica to me. This album has a lot of keyboard solos on it, and when I think keyboard solos, I think of Dream Theater.
Yep.
I think of Jordan Rudess.
I wanted something to write down, and that's exactly what it was. So thank you.
Yeah, keyboard. The keyboardist here does a great job. I mean, obviously, props to Jordan Rudess, one of the best keyboardists of all fucking time. That not really comparable too much to his skill. Not like that. It's not that intricate, but it does remind me of the flavor that I get when I listen to Dream Theater, especially maybe turn of the century. Early 2000s, mid 2000s Dream Theater, where they're like a little heavier before they went back into more of the progressive stuff before Portnoy left. That's what this kind of reminds me of. A little bit more straightforward Dream Theater. And it fucking, I wrote, it's heavy. Now this is where I wrote. I said, the track is heavy as hell, fucking kicks, and I'm here for it all day. And then outro throwback, to me, it felt like a throwback all the way back to Opus. And leads as a perfect intro into the next track.
Andy, give it to us.
At the risk of this maybe sounding cliche, but I consider this album like the breakup album. So as you're going through these first three tracks, you've got like an unsettling creepiness, the hurt, or like this betrayal that happens. Rats is the whimsical one where they're kind of going kind of mad, but then you get to Faith, it's like, okay, I'm angry and I'm hurt right now. And I'm just going to spew it out. And I love that about this song. It's so aggressive. It's so powerful live. One of my favorite songs. And one thing that doesn't come out on the album that he does live is this growl that I like to do when we perform this song. It's just like at the very beginning, And I love those harmonized guitars. And it's just so in your face. And some of those verses is kind of like throwing it back into certain people's faces also. Like, I'm here and Faith is mine. You're not going to take this away from me. Like, I'm still very upset about this. I think the outro is interesting. I don't really listen to it, so I don't know if it exactly hurts or helps the song. I do hear a little bit of Life Eternal in there, and then I do agree that it does help lead into the next song, but I don't know if it really helps Faith as a track whole.
Yeah.
But it is a very powerful song, and I love it to pieces.
So from my notes, because you guys have pretty much elaborated a lot of my thoughts, but there are some things. Obviously, we talked about the heavy intro. I think that we didn't discuss enough how the bass brings a really interesting dynamic to the depth of this song. It's in there when those slides happen on the pauses. The reason you feel that slide so much is because that bass is it's that low end that really hits you, and you're like, whoa, okay, dope. This song is definitely about Ghost V1. Let's talk about it. Obviously, so there's a different band, Priest. They're like they're the members of Ghost who aren't Tobias in their own band, and there's a specific line, and he says it stinks, feels, and looks identical, right? A pack of fools can take the stand. He literally says, let's go to fucking court and settle this, motherfuckers. And I think by that point they maybe had already kind of worked it out and figured it out, but still, he just the kill shot on them. Crazy. The post-chorus solo, the first chorus has this really cool solo that like is really small, but really I love it. I fucking love that. The breakdown is super sick. And I'm talking about when it goes into the low end, I am all eyes, I am all ears, and it's a lot of tribal drumming. I fucking love that tribal drumming. Not gonna lie, that section reminds me of Disturbed a little bit. Just being real, that might not be a necessarily one people want to hear, but that's a fact. It just has a very Disturbed David Draymond kind of thing going on. And I'm not even lying. The only other person in the entire world I've ever heard say my thought that I've been thinking about since June fucking 3rd of 2018 is, and it's on the bottom of my organ outro, has Life Eternal melody, very subtle. You literally can play the end of this song over the intro of Life Eternal and it will fuck you up. Ugh. Yes, here for it. Let's talk about ranks. I gave it a 9.27. I like it just a little bit more than Rats, just a tiny peppering more. Let's go to Andy.
I give it a 9.
Brando.
9.75.
And that man with the lovely white hat, TY.
I gave this one a 9.5. Real close to Rats for me.
Wow, we're all kind of there on that one. Dope shit. Moving on, we're on to track fucking 4. See the Light. Brando, lead it off for us.
So we've had a little bit of a different feel for the last couple of songs, where you had the more musical, whimsical feel of Rats, and then the heavier rock and heavy metal of Faith. And this is going to be something that is more on the nose and basically Forspoken before the album came out for Impera, where a lot of 80s influence went into that album's creation. Like a lot of the songs have a straight up 80s type structure. I think it actually starts on this album, but it's not a theme of the album, because we've had you do have some differences. But then you have a couple of songs that really stick out as, this is an 80s pop song, this is Ghost writing an 80s pop song. Not this one, because what gives me the 80s vibes here is the piano and the bass in the beginning. It's the dum 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 dum, and the piano and him singing over it. Just the music in the background makes me think of like all the kids running to go back and get their bikes to save ET or something. Maybe not that one because it's more symphonic, but maybe more like Goonies or something. It's like,
Sure.
Maybe what's it even more like, The Explorers, or I'm just pulling out 80s movies, but it just gives me that vibe. And the chorus fucking kills. 2 songs in a row, chorus fucking kills. Keyboard solo into guitar solo, kills. I love it. I love this track. It's really cool.
Andy.
I like this track because of the subtleness, the gentle start. Like we just had like this rage moment, the song before. Now we're like coming back down. I love the piano and the drums. It's like, I was like, oh, I can vibe with this. And I love how that chorus kicks in. It just, I don't know. I resonate a lot with this song because it reminds me of like my teenage years when I felt like, oh, nobody likes me. And then like every day you feed me with hate or whatever. Like you just throw yourself into those memories and then possibly thinking of what Tobias was feeling. I think he sounds great here. I love the change from all the previous albums, which I wanted to note. We don't have a lot of Latin chanting going on. We don't have a lot of overtly satanic themes yet or at all right now. So I think that's interesting to add at this point for this song. And I dig it. I really love how it sounds.
We are at, it's me. It's my turn to talk. Shit. I just realized. The piano intro into immediate vocals with the bass droning is fucking awesome, because it does set itself apart as something that's slightly different than what we've heard before. The chorus hits so hard. I mean, the thing that, Andy, you said every day you feed me with hate, but the best part of that line is, I grow stronger. That's fucking some powerful thoughts to have as a person. Like, go ahead, talk your shit, be awful, disconnect from me. I know my true worth and self, and the more you do that, the more it fuels me and fuels me to be better and stronger. I fucking love that. I think, honestly, I'm just going to be real. There's one other song I'll consider this, but this may be the dark horse of the album for me. We're going to talk about it. Using the guitar sparingly until the chorus is actually a really unique dynamic. There's not a lot of guitar until the chorus hits, so when the chorus hits, it's just extra crunchy. There is a guitar solo here for it, like Brando said, into a dual solo. Fucking here for that too. But no one yet has said it, so let me real quick bring up this one thing. There's one thing nobody in music really does anymore, and if they do it, they're most likely a punk band. Ending a song in the round is the coolest shit ever. I have one form of vocals, and they go over these other vocals through this one set of music, and it just plays off itself so beautifully. There's so much happening in the end of this song that just is like, it's perfection. It is utterly perfection. TY, what are your thoughts? See the light.
Man, you guys got most of it, but I'm telling you right now, I love how Brandon brought up just the 80s like theme. You know, this is a ballad if I've ever heard one. This is like ballad.exe, and just how clean the piano and the guitar is. And then, you know, right there I've got it commanding guitar solo. I've got it underlined like 4 times. You know, cuz this is a track that like I don't know if I was just busy or it was like the time where I'm dissociating or whatever, and I had to actually go back and listen to this track a couple times, and that fucking guitar solo, man, that's what got it for me. You know, not that it wasn't sold the first time I listened to it, but yeah, good enough I had to go back for seconds.
What's the play count on Spotify?
And this, I'm glad that you asked, because I was going to bring this up before we ranked here. Surprisingly enough, this one's barely sitting over 20 million plays.
It needs more. It needs more.
Yep.
Definitely
this,
needs more.
This one definitely deserves it for sure.
TY, hit us off with your rank, sire.
9.25.
I gave it a 10, and I actually wrote 10 plus. Because if I could, Brandon knows I'd break the rules. I fucking would. He won't let me, but I want to. Andy.
8.3.
And Brando.
9.75.
Okay.
Like that.
So
I think it's deserving of that all day.
Yeah, absolutely. I got something else to say, but I have to hold my tongue for a couple more songs. So
okay. We'll get there. Miasma is next, and this is an instrumental. It is we're gonna get into it. Brando, give me your thoughts. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
So this song's a little weird because this song would kill with vocals. It would. This is, again, formulaic. Formulaic is sometimes said as a bad term when it comes to music. The one that everybody picks out is Nickelback. Oh, they're formulaic, but they just know how to write singles and certain songs in a certain way. It gets them money, it gets them radio play, and then they also have other songs on the album where they just, hey, let's try this, do something different. You can definitely hear a little bit of more of that in this than a typical instrumental because it has a structure of where it goes, and it does feel very verse chorusy. And so, but in lieu of vocals, they do keyboard and sections like that. But this song kills without vocals. That's how good it is. I absolutely love this track. Again, the keyboard solos, the big symphonic interlude, and the saxophone solo. Let's just say the first time around when I think I said I gave this album one spin when it came out, thought it was good, didn't really come back other than maybe a few random plays of the singles every now and again. First time coming back to this, since we saw them live, they played this live.
Yep.
And it blew me away live. And this gets points for being so creative, so different, so experimental with the sound. It takes a chance because he could have wrote another song, another catchy tune where you're singing along, but instead he's putting tracks just like the intro track and with this instrumental as a cool set piece during the show where he can go rest his damn voice, get a
Yeah.
drink, go off stage, give the band a spotlight, let them come out there and get some of that, a glory for people like adoring their musicianship. And he gets to step away, whether that's and then also he does costume changes.
Right.
It's not your typical rock and roll show. It's like rock and roll meets Madonna or Britney Spears. I don't know too many guys that do wardrobe changes mid rock show. Maybe Alice Cooper, but typically no, he doesn't anymore. But maybe Bruce Dickinson when he puts on like the red coat, for the Trooper. But that's a red like he does full costume changes.
Yeah.
With
makeup.
He has the makeup on, but he does completely. He comes out in the big gold. It's awesome, and that's what this song is cool for. Puts highlight in there, guys, and that's what's cool about it for me.
Andy.
This one catches my attention more than any of the instrumentals of the past.
Mhm.
It is a slow build. It doesn't give like its power right away. I think this is the song that I kind of cocked my head. I'm like, oh, I hear the 80s stuff going on. I love the combination synths. And I put in my notes, I can see this being on some end or beginning of show credits, like very much TV in mind. And I know that's been one of his like Tobias's like side tracks. That's what he likes to be immersed in. The saxophone is unexpected. Like if you're listening to it for the first time, you've never heard it before, like, oh, we're throwing a sax in with Ghost. Very cool. I was sitting here thinking about it. I was like, oh, it reminds me of I Still Believe from the Lost Boys, that whole saxophone scene. And it's really fun live. And I do like the theatrics with Papa Nil coming out and the stagehands. It's a great track. And I'm really glad it's included in this album.
Absolutely agree. I think the organ intro is creepy, right? It's like you said, very slow build. Once the jam kicks in, though, everything's on point. Like they're just on like the smooth gravy train of we know what we're doing, right? There are some cool things that happen though. Each solo happening is like good, and then it keeps getting better and more unique as it goes until we get to the essentially the blow off here. When the rhythm section switches, it's super epic. That goes into the guitar solo. I want to talk about that the guitar solo section is really good, but that the finger tapping solo that happens towards the end, we're nearing there. Honestly, it sounds like Super Meat Boy. I can't not hear the Super Meat Boy soundtrack. If you've never played that game, go listen. The songs are fucking cool, but specifically there are just parts where it's super finger tappy, and I love it. But right after the finger tap solo, we have a Michael Jackson-esque riff. Hardcore.
Yep.
I was like, oh shit, we are doing the thing. Awesome. Love it. And then I wrote in all caps, saxophone. You guys, there's a saxophone. You guys have brought it up, but Jesus, that's like so fucking cool.
It shreds.
It shreds, dude.
Who I didn't wake up today thinking that I was going to talk about a fucking shredding saxophone. It does. It shreds.
And imagine Tobias. He was probably a kid, and I don't know if over in Sweden they do the same thing, like wait till third grade to get you into music. But, I'm guessing he probably played sax as a nerdy little kid. And then, like, he's older and he has the opportunity. He's like, I'm going to show everybody the whole fucking world that I'm the greatest saxophone player ever. I am sexy sax man, And then he just fucking kills it. What an outro. This whole song is just everything I would want in an instrumental. Yeah, TY.
Man, you guys have wrapped everything that I had up in a nice little ball. The synth and the saxophone is what really did it for me. It's definitely loved the slow build in the beginning, and then once the tempo picks up, it just continues to pick up. Through each solo, it feels like the tempo continues to pick up, and late teen, early adult, the instrumental tracks were always one of those that like, Ecstasy of Gold and a couple of the like super, super notable ones I dug, but for most part, it's like, well, skip. And now I don't know how this song is so good. I don't know how you could skip it without like, oh, dude, check out this song. I want you to listen to this. And it's like, well, no, that almost doesn't feel right because there's a lot worse songs out there, and this one's an instrumental. So, love it.
Yeah. So what's your rank on it, Ty?
9.25.
I gave it a 9.75 actually.
Nice.
Andy
8.9.
and Brando.
10.
Hell yeah.
So
I thought about it.
in terms of instrumentals, right? There are some bands that include instrumental tracks, and some of them become synonymous sometimes with their legacy. Metallica is that, and I feel like Ghost has finally written one that should be as synonymous with them as an instrumental. This should make playlist along with the biggest hits because it's just so cool, so different, so chancy, and
it's kind of their Orion.
Yes, yeah, it stands
and
out.
Maybe they'll write a more epic that's more epic than this that will be actually their Orion,
and maybe it will, but I think this stands out, just like we've all said. It is playlist material.
TY, what were the plays on this on Spotify?
18,568,000 right now. Yep.
I am shocked.
Just right
baffled.
behind. Actually, there's 2 other songs on the album that have less plays, but yeah, down towards the bottom.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to another one of the singles. Rats was a single. Faith was a single. This is the last single off this is the middle single off the album. Faith was the last one. Dance Macabre, give it to me, TY. What are your thoughts?
Man, I talked about Radio Gold at the beginning with Rats, and here we are again. 147 million plays on Spotify.
Damn.
I think it's in that perfect scenario or like perfect storm time frame. The song's super catchy. It's less than 4 minutes, so it's made to be a catchy radio jam. But the heavy guitar in the beginning, and then how it interdisperses between his vocals with no instrumental backing, and then with and without throughout the song. I really dig that. Yeah.
Brando.
This song is the 80s. Just all of it wrapped up into one song.
Okay.
And it's awesome for it. Because I'm an 80s guy. Look.
Very montagey.
Yes. It felt like very montagey. And the thing is, it's awesome for it. How in the hell did this guy write 2 big sing-songy, dancey-like songs on the same album, and they're both great?
Yep.
And they're both
for different reasons.
Yes. I love so many genres from the 80s. While a metalhead, I'm very diverse. And these songs on this album are just tickling spots I didn't know I wanted tickled.
Oh, Christ. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Oh, jeez.
Catchy, and just super addicting right off the bat with those guitar, the riff, the tones. I just love this song, and like everybody else was saying, it was made, to be addicting, and it's got everybody hooked. What I would note is that it's very important lore-wise. If you're into the music videos, it's a very important one. If you're paying attention to Papa Nil's character and Sister Imperator, it kind of starts the track and puts the pieces together for Cardinal Copia. I consider this song like possibly an intermission between what's going to come next. It's like maybe the highest point. Miasma built us up, and then Dance Macabre's got us up there too, and we're going to be going on this journey. Also highlighted the bass line in this song is one of my favorite songs. It's just a great track, and I love to play it, and I covered it recently, and it's been super fun.
Fuck yeah. It's definitely one to jam. It's one of the ones I did learn on guitar. I love playing it. It has a lot of fun bounce. I love the riff. It is iconic. Hey, there you go. Ghost, iconic. We're here. We have some iconic. They have obviously iconic stuff. I think they've had iconic all the way back to Ritual, because that riff in and of itself is iconic, and I'll always just go, that's Ghost. The bass driven with piano is awesome. The pre-chorus is just so catchy. Like, you wrote almost a more catchy fucking pre-chorus than your chorus, and your chorus is still super catchy. How did you do that? He's like, you know what? I'm going to waste 2 hooks in one song. Fuck it. I'm feeling spicy today, There's one spot in the second pre-chorus, okay, where there's background vocals that I don't know if it's like if he's saying I'm loving it. I'm not sure. It's maybe if that's like a McDonald's thing right there. It made me think of Coheed and Cambria though, because of the range his voice was and like how it was put in production wise. I was like, oh, I love that. Bring me some more of that. That'd be another great band. I'd love to rank them all. Clever wordplay, be with you, bewitch you, right? And it's how you're saying it, and it's actually kind of a double entendre in and of itself. Another great solo. The vocal harmonies are super good. To piggyback off of TY, I think the song is a bit too short, although it is definitely radio friendly. I would have done with maybe one more. I mean, maybe it drones on if you add another verse, but it again, awesome. Fucking love this song. I gave it an 8.75. And where are we at on plays, TY? I don't think we didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, you did 140, right? 140.
147 for even numbers. Just for sake of brevity, I don't think I need to go digit by digit. Yeah, 147 million plays just on Spotify.
Andy, what's your rank?
9.7.
Damn. Brando.
10.
And TY.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, never mind. Give me your rank.
Gotcha. 10. 10 for me as well.
10. All right. So here's what I wanted to say back on Faith. When I rank, sometimes I do a couple passes. I have my gut, and sometimes it doesn't change. Sometimes it does change. In this case, I was like looking hard at the scores that I put down for so many songs in a row, and I'm like, am I being wasteful here? I started doubting myself, and I started it literally for the last few hours before we even started the show. I was deep diving into these 4 songs specifically because for the very first time, I think ever, I had 4 10s in a row.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often on an album for Brando. No.
No.
I think the most you've had in an album is 2.
Maybe. But like I was looking at this going, all right, now hold up.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So I'm looking at songs from other bands that I have given 10s. And I mean I have given a fair amount of 10s, but I'm not. That's like Here in Ghost. I didn't give a 10. I don't think until Cerise. I've given higher ranks for some songs, but not quite 10. So I'm like, if I waited that long for so many other good songs that I've liked along the way, all right. Here it was, and that's what that caused the previous 2 songs to kind of just get docked, and that's why they only got docked the 0.25. Because this album, I said it in the beginning, it's hitting different. First time, maybe it wasn't right in mind. Maybe I wasn't high enough. Maybe whatever was going on in my life. I heard it, was like, yes, this is cool, on to the next thing. This last week that I played this album, it hit. And I'm like, damn, this is good. And I didn't. It was like maybe just things hit you differently when you hear it in parts of your life, and maybe I wasn't ready for it then the way I am now.
Love that. All right, we're moving on to the next track on the album. This is Pro Memoria. I'm gonna have Andy lead off on this one. Give us your thoughts.
When I listened to this song, like my first thought was like, this gives me kind of Frank Sinatra vibes, only because of like the tone. And then that outfit that he would wear when they would play this song live, if y'all hadn't seen, it was like a white suit, this black brimmed hat, and it comes in with these pianos and these organs. It's very different from Old Ghost. It's like almost experimental in a sense. And I think this whole album, he's trying to find footing and dealing with these emotions that he had to process. I think he has an interesting tone in his voice. Admittedly, I don't listen to this track hardly ever, but I think it is a good song. Some things I wanted to add were the lyrics, and I love the message because this one is another one throwing in your face about calling out lawsuit ghouls, like the line "Sweet Saint Peter," which is like code for like Simon. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, we're still going through it, and I respect that. So it's a nice song, but it's not really one of my favorites.
Okay. I think that I have a kind of extensive notes on this song. I really broke this one down a couple times, and this is what I came up with. I think that the orchestral intro being washed away by the piano vocals and the littlest the littlest hi-hat in the whole fucking world is
Yeah.
being played, is super creepy. It's creepy. And then when he starts with Lucifer whispering and you're listening in headphones, you're just like, "Ugh." It's in the back, you know, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. Like a minute and 40 seconds in, I love, and I think this is what is meant to be, because obviously the idea of don't forget about dying, don't forget about your friend death. But in the minute and 40 moment, there's like a last breath of a dying person. It's like,
Oh,
Yeah,
and I
he
was like,
exhales,
oh
yeah.
my God, it's not supposed to just be a breathe out, because why would you make that so loud? It's supposed to be the last gasp of someone. Oh, fucking brutal. Love it. Lyrically heavy, especially for me when the album came out. You know, I'm like literally dealing with the death of my uncle, hearing, don't you forget about dying and your friend death. And I'm just like, yep, I'm not going to forget, Ghost. Like, it's right there with me, bro. The piano in this song is beautiful and haunting. Honestly, there's some really cool shit that I just absolutely fucking love. The drums in the song are cool. The build up to the last chorus is really incredible, with the ahs happening with the female voice. The outro with organs is super, super emotional. Like it hits your throat. If you're just in the right headspace, you're like, whoa, got to take a step back. But yeah, I dig the song. TY, give us your thoughts.
I like a lot of what you and Andy said. The string intro did a lot for me, especially you know, the previous song. It has such a different right away. It's such a different tempo. You know, this song starts so much slower, and it's almost like ethereal feeling. It's very wispy, and then the organ and the super super clean piano comes in, and then you know, just the overall tone of this song, I think, is what really grabbed me, because this is a point where you know, if you go back and listen to some of our Alice in Chains ranks, there were some tunes that did something similar, where you had a super high tempo catchy song and something 180 degrees the other direction was next. And I think a lot of my ranks maybe in that were skewed a little bit, just because I was so into that previous track. But I think really the piano and the strings are in the just the whole orchestral. I am having a stroke. The whole orchestra is it's so clean sounding, and it's phenomenal. I think I really dug this one, actually.
Brando.
Big epic fantasy intro of movie soundtrack proportions coming into a single piano hit that I broke myself and was laughing over the whole track, and I had to go back and listen to it again, because the first thing when he hit I was just in a goofy mood. I've had a really good day today. When I was re-listening to this, and I swear I wrote this note down, and was like, yeah, okay. And then the piano, as soon as he hit the piano, I thought, you got what I need. And I'm just like,
Oh,
epic fantasy into Biz Marquee. All right, I'm digging it. And then of course it doesn't quite. He's not Biz Marquee. He's singing his own little different tune over it, and I really like that. But that's the first thing I thought of, and then all I could think about is him actually then ghost covering Biz Marquee, and now I want to hear it, because I think it would slay. But
you never know with Tobias, man.
Dude,
honestly,
it's really random. Not really, but what I mean by that is that it's just always unexpected for what he's going to pull out of his hat. But I actually like how we've talked about experimenting with new sounds. The organ mixed with the new sound, it's almost kind of like this is the old and we're doing here with it. It's like it's the evolution of or an attempt at an evolution of sound, and it's kind of cool, because it's like I feel like this whole album, and we've kind of elaborated on this, it's like moving away from the prior sound, it's while keeping the things that he's like thematically from it, but not overly organy and not overly. It's there. It's got flavors, you know. the roots are there, but what it is, it has allowed him to experiment more with different types of music, and that's what I think has really helped the band grow. Because it doesn't just when you hear the new album, it's not just another opus. It's not just another it's an evolution, and I feel like that's what they kind of did here as well. I didn't expect the chorus to be very sing-songy the first time I heard it, but it does kind of grow on you a little bit. It's like this shouldn't be catchy, but for some reason as he's singing it, it's like that's weird. I don't know. It doesn't roll off the tongue the same way, but I dig it. It's a good track. I like it.
Before you rank it, what's our play on Spotify?
Oh,
TY.
Pro Memoria, 17,134,000.
Just shocking. Just honestly to me, shocking. All right, let's go ahead and break it down. Brando, what's that rank, Brody?
8.
TY.
I actually gave this one an 8.5.
That's my rank as well.
Nice.
Andy.
I gave it a 7.
Okay, we're right in the wheelhouse there. Okay, love that. Love that. We are moving on to the next track. We're going to go and kind of go back and forth here because we're going to also be talking about another track, kind of. Witch Image. I'm going to lead off on this one because I loved See the Light. That song is a jam. This song is the dark horse on this fucking album. It is so fucking good. Let's go. I'm so excited to talk about it. The lyrics on this one might honestly be my favorite, like hands down. Also, is that a pan flute that we're getting? Is that a pan flute we're hearing in this song a couple different times?
Pan flute or like an occharina or something.
Yeah,
it's some kind
for
of flute.
sure.
Because I could only hear it in headphones. I couldn't hear it on my truck or whatever. But yeah.
Fucking love that. The dreamy verse that transitions into the heavy sing-along chorus is awesome. This song is definitely too short. Too short. Give me 2 more minutes of this. I love it. I loved Witch Image so much. The chorus harmony works masterfully, and I will say that last chorus is just so impactful. It hits so hard. Ugh. Love Witch Image. Absolutely. TY, give us your thoughts.
I wrote a lot of similar stuff to what you did, Nate. I put here in my notes that this one's kind of the first half of the song is it's very Doorsy feeling, because it gets going and then you get to swaying and the instruments come in and the vocals back out, and then the vocals back out and the instruments come back in, and I kind of like that duality of how it goes back and forth. The vocal melodies in the second half of the song, big fan. That fucking pan flute or whatever the hell it is, man, that is the dark horse of the album. Because I really like how subtly awesome it is in this song.
Love that. Who is next? Oh, Brando. Brando, give it to me.
They're just cheating now.
Oh?
This is straight up cheesy European power metal. This reminds me of something that Ed Guy would do. If you know who that is.
Yeah.
So I fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
I am just cheesy European power metal that is sing-songy. Sign me up. I love it. That's all I have for this.
I want to say real quick before we get Andy's thoughts, there's one lyric that just kills me in this. I have always kept you closer than you've known. I am riding behind you through the shadows on a pale white horse, about to take your fucking head off, technically, is kind of what he's saying. I love that. Just like, you think you have the beat on me, but I've always been in the know. Again, I think that's a cheap shot at the old band, but again, for very, very good purpose. Andy, give it to me.
This one was my dark horse. Like, obviously I've heard this before. We performed this one. I didn't really get it until more recently. I was like, oh, this song just takes you on a ride. It's like, I love how he sounds. We're swooping in. He's got you, what you were saying about very subtle like throws to these old ghouls. And I love the melodies and the backing vocals. I love the line, the way he sings, "You never want me to believe." I was like, oh yes, I'm right there with you. I love the solo. I love that so much. And yeah, maybe I agree. It could have been a little bit more long just because it's so good. And I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
Well, what was your rank,
I gave it 8.5.
Brando?
9.5.
TY, let's get your rank and the total plays.
I gave this one an 8.5 as well, and we're sitting at 29 million plays.
Hey, seems
So,
surprising.
I've kind of noticed a theme here, that anything sub 4 minutes, the last couple albums it's kind of been a trend. It's the one that's got the majority of the plays.
Of the non-singles, love that.
Yep.
I gave it a 10. I mean, I wrote plus, but again, we already know the rules. I can't change it. It's on the same level to me.
No.
Let's move on to Helvetus Fonster. Got it.
You did it.
Does anybody? I did some research. This phrase means the devil's window. Do any of you in here know what the devil's window is?
Is this like a body part or something?
Sort of.
Okay.
So I want to say in the 18th century, for the first time ever, there was, new fashion happening, and the cutouts for some of the dresses had side boob, where you could see the lady's side boobs. So dudes were literally staring into the devil's window, into the depths of their own demise, and that is what we got a banger instrumental about. Is side tit. I mean, I go bring it on, Tobias. Whatever. More flute. Dark and ominous. The low end with the backmasking is fucking so creepy. Super creepy if you're listening alone. I love the almost blind guardian jam that happens in this song. There is some. Brandon just looked pissed that I stole that one from him. He just shot me a fucking look. Oh God. In the first third, of the song, the piano solo has kind of some ragtime vibes. Dun 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 dun. And then it just kicks you back in. I fucking love that. Ghost Tobias builds such an epic soundscape in this song. And then the end of the song, let's talk about it. It switches to this wind blowing. And if you're really listening in headphones, creepy. And then we've got another, I think it's lute, actually. I don't think it's actually a guitar. I think it's a smaller stringed instrument that they're playing this on, but
like
it is
mandolin or something, maybe.
Yes, it's so creepy and melancholy. It makes me very sad every time I listen to it. But like the first half of the song, I'm like, yeah, uplifted, and then by the time it's over, I'm like, I feel kind of bummed out right now. It'll take a minute. It's very powerful, honestly. TY.
Man, I here we are again, Nate. I really like. I'm really picking up what you're putting down. The about 3 minutes ish in, where it almost totally pauses, and there's just the really, really slight background instrumentals. I think that is what really hooked me in this song, because I was like, kind of into it, and then I've been trying to listen with headphones as much as I can, so I can catch some of the more nuanced stuff. And I thought that the track was over, or that my Spotify was messed up or something, because I had it kind of turned down, and it just absolutely, it's such a, the mandolin or the lute or whatever stringed instrument they're using, it's just so clean and like so emotional feeling that I definitely 100% agree with you, Nate. It's like a bittersweet feeling is how I would describe it. But yeah, for sure. Big fan of this one. 11 million plays at almost 6 minutes.
Damn, still shocking that it's so low. Brando.
So maybe they're just doing a power metal album now. So we started from musical, and then heavy metal and power 80s power ballad, and then power metal. Look, power metal is just metal meets 80s pop, usually, but there's like there's like tiers of power metal, just like there's all tiers. It's crazy tree, but you have like the basic power metal, then epic fantasy power metal, and this one kind of gets into that too because of the Blind Guardian section. Hi Hansi, welcome here, big fan. No, that sounded like Bard song, not like a rip off of Bard song, but like tone.
Yes.
It was different enough, but like it instantly was like boom, cool, all right. No, again, much better instrumentals on this album. I think this one probably, even though it's really good, maybe it's maybe a step lower than Miasma, but simply because Miasma was so. I mean, they're so different from each other, and that really shows diversity again. With taking a lot of cool leaps and bounds on this album that don't want to future trip too bad, but it's going to continue on into future songs and releases. So pretty cool stuff.
Andy, you're next up. What is your thoughts on Helvetis Monster?
My first note is Lord of the Rings. And then Zelda, like just movie soundtrack vibes. I love how sweetly like melancholic it is. Just kind of takes you on this little journey. You're floating down a river or through a forest. It does take a little too long for me, but I like about around, what did I write down? About 340 where it comes back around and it kind of brings me back to kind of the beginning. It's a sweet track. It just maybe it's a little too long where maybe I docked some points for it. But it is different. It's that haunting, gentle, sweet, maybe creepy, and yet sad. Something's going on here.
All right. Well, where did you rank this song?
I gave it a 7.
Brando.
8.
TY.
8 for me as well.
I gave it a 9. I quite enjoyed it. It's weird though, honestly. You have 2 banger ass fucking instrumentals on one album. Like there are very few bands that can pull that off, and I think Ghost maybe in their own special territory where they can afford a song or two where they don't have any lyrics, and it actually pays off nicely for them. We're on the last track. I'm gonna lead it off with Andy. This is Life Eternal. What are your thoughts?
Life Eternal. So I guess 2018 was like a transitional point in a lot of people's lives. I know it was for me. When I heard this song live, I was like going through a big transition, a big life transition, and I just lost it because I really latched on to the longing part of this song and just like longing onto the idea of love. I was like, why can't I go with you? Why don't you love me? Kind of deal. Mm-hmm. It's so different. When I'm looking at the album as a whole, we've got some angry, we've got something fun going on, these experimental, like instrumental tracks, and we've got this ballad. It's like, is this like the kind of the first true romantic song that maybe Tobias has kind of put on a Ghost album? I put that it feels like you're floating up to heaven, very ethereal, and I love how it's the breakaway from all the stuff that we've heard so far. And I love the delivery of the last line. Like the ending is like my favorite. So like if you're in that certain headspace, it just kind of lets you grieve, but it's gonna like carry you forward.
Excuse me, this one's gonna be tough. So this was the one that breaks me, honestly, you guys. I haven't listened to this song since 2018, so it was pretty powerful to go back and be like in it and thinking about everything that was happening in my life at that time. This is truly a hard song for me to rank because of the emotion that's with it, and because I've had such a hard time going back and listening to it, because it emotionally crushes me every time I hear the song. It is super good. But here's the one thing. I laughed so hard last night because I'm like in the spot, I'm in the zone, I'm feeling it. There's some droplets of my tears still on the paper from where I was writing, and I start laughing uncontrollably because I forgot that he has wind chimes. Just all of a sudden there's this big and I laughed so fucking hard. I loved that. The outro is kind of corny, I'm gonna be real. The forever and ever and ever and ever, like, okay, we get it. We get the idea of eternity, forever. We got you, but you carried it on just a little bit too long. And then the corny part for me is really the last line, him going back to just him saying it. I was just like, I mean, I get that's a nice bow on the album, right? But I don't know if it's a nice touch for that song. So that's where I'm at for that one. TY, what about you?
This song, for me, already, I love that. I didn't notice it at organically, but Brandon has totally opened my eyes to how this album is just a power metal album, and now I like it even that much more. That's okay. I tell you what, I'm a sucker for ballads in general. I think I mentioned it an episode or two ago, but I still remember waking up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and 80s, the ballads, greatest hits with like White Lion and shit like that on it, And I remember waking up to that and being like, man, what a fucking banger, and then going back to sleep. And
don't know what you got till it's gone. It's just ringing through your head for 16 hours, and you're like, oh my God.
But the melody and just overall the song feels so genuinely emotional. So I get a lot of this song, for me at least lyrically, we've all been in those situations in life where we don't have any control over it, and it's like, okay, well, if it was this way, it'd be different, or if it was that way, it'd be different, or if I just did this, it'd be different. And you spend so much like mental and emotional investment trying to control things in your life that you can't control, and just this is the moment of just letting go and just saying that over and over again. It's like trying to convince yourself that just like, you know what you got to do. You just got to do it. And, definitely not my, I take that back. This actually is my favorite on the album, I think. And it wasn't maybe the first listen or two. But with the context of 2018, like we keep talking about, and just everything, this is 100%, I think, my favorite on the album.
Excellent. Brando.
I feel like he's mastered the ability to craft catchy hooks, and now he's just rubbing it in. Case in point, I already said that with Rats. Catchy hook is the Rats, and then the is like, now all of a sudden you're driving along in your car, and you're just like people just looking at you, as you're eyeing. In this song, repeat the same line. You're like, no, okay. The next one, key change, and then the next motion is, he made that catchy just by changing the key. Didn't change the words. It's very interesting because, unfortunately, I don't know if it's my version of autism that picks out patterns or picks out how people like. I'm just noticing the simplicity and ability here, and it's like this guy's got it. He's figured it out, and it's like he's like, all right, now I'm gonna do this. People are gonna love it. We're gonna sing along. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have a great show. We're gonna sell some records and make some money. And this is what it is, man. And I wish we're at the end here. And I'm glad that I got to go last because I wrote this down. I said, I wish I could get perfect score of this album because it's truly a great fucking listen. But I got to be fair. And I got to be, it's like not every track on here is a 10. But literally, you look at my scores, my lowest track is the intro track. And I gave it a 7. All of us pretty highly praise this record. It's up there in the same kind of like points echelon almost. So, yeah, love this album.
Well, we got to get down to it. We've obviously got 4 songs after Life Eternal to talk about. We're going to get there, folks. Don't worry. We got some Satanic Panic coming for you, but we got to get to the ranks first. Brando, what did you rank Life Eternal?
8.25.
And TY, your rank, my friend?
I gave this one a 10.
Hell yeah.
I gave it an 8.75. Andy.
I also give it 8.25.
Hell yeah. So Brando, let's real quick before we go into the bonus tracks for Prequelle, let's go ahead real quick and where are we at with our master rank for these tracks?
So Andy's rank here was 7.9.
Okay.
Which is just a little bit lower than Meliora. No, I'm sorry. It was a little bit higher. Was it?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, barely. 7.6 for Meliora, 7.9.
Wow,
For Prequelle.
0.03.
Yeah.
Surprising.
TY, your rank was an 8.9.
I really like this one, man.
Same here because my rank was 8.975.
Hell yeah.
And Nate, yours was 9, just niner.
9.
That gives us
Nice.
Just a 9er. I fucking love that. Oh, cool.
gives a master rank of 8.7.
Is it our top ranked now?
Oh yeah.
Or is Meliora? Oh yeah.
Oh
okay.
well, Meliora was 8.0, so just 8.
Wow.
But 8.7. This has surpassed Meliora, and I want to say that I got a little bored today, and I decided I'm like, okay, this is a pretty high ranked album for me, and also for kind of all of us. So I went back to the other ranks that I've done and figured out I have my top 15. I'm not going to say what they are, but this one ranks canonically number 2 of my all time that we've ranked so far. Only one album beats it, and that's Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets. Yeah. I knew it.
However, Nate, as I went through all of my files just to gather up my points and my stats, I have an album ranked higher than Master of Puppets that we have not done a series on.
Breaking Benjamin.
No.
Oh. What?
Again, a band, because Breaking Benjamin is still technically in production. We have not even discussed this, and we have not even ranked it. We haven't even started it. This is just because I got in a mood and went through half their discography and just ranked it. It might change if I do a re-listen, but as of right now, there's an album ranking higher than Master, and I didn't realize it until I looked at it, and I was like,
Are they on your
Done.
shirt?
no.
Okay.
He's gonna keep saying.
No, we don't have to. You don't have to guess it, Nate. You don't have to guess it. Let's keep the suspense.
Figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
Because the highest rated song on the album should be no surprise. It's Dance Macabre. But also those 4 tracks. Well, they're starting with Rats, really. 9.3, 9.38, 9.32, 9.4, 9.6. Like, it's boom, 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 boom. This album is hitter after hitter after hitter, and even the ones that are like not as maybe as good as the previous is nowhere near getting low enough to be like, this is a complete skippable. It's like, no, man, this has also got some really cool stuff. This is just a really solid record, and I'm so glad that I got to go back to it with a new mindset on it, because I'm excited to get to the next one, because like I think Andy said, like, that album might have like maybe let you see this one in a different light, and I'm interested to go back to that one now, because that one had kind of taken the top spot, and now it's like, whew, it's duking it out time now. It's gonna
yeah. Oh
them
yeah.
fight.
Yeah, Impera is going to be a fun one. But if you were lucky enough to purchase the Prequelle extended edition or deluxe edition or whatever they called it when it first came out, there were 2 bonus tracks. Now, usually we try to do a thing where if it's not on Spotify, we don't rank it per se, but this one's pretty easy to find. It wasn't hard and easy to search for. But there were 2 bonus tracks. We're going to go ahead and talk about those now. They will have their own individual ranks. We'll talk about them as like overall the top covers, because there's going to be a lot of that discussion at the end of Ghost. But we're going to go ahead and kick it off with It's a Sin. And TY, I'm really intrigued by your thoughts on this cover.
I did this way out of order, so I actually don't have that one ranked. I forgot to do that one. Can you skip me for someone else?
Sure, you're good. No worries. So Brando, go ahead and kick it off.
So if you watch the original video from the original artist, it's very set piecey, a la Meatloaf. I Do Anything. it just looked like this big production. Overall, it's a very good cover. Once again, picking a song that, itself it is a really good song, but then once they start adding just their tone, it sounds like it could fit right along. If you had no idea that this was a cover, you might be like, oh yeah, it's just another Ghost song. And that's what is so cool about their covers. It's like they blend it so seamlessly within their style. They're like, yeah, this song is actually, if we did this, it would be perfect for us. And that's kind of neat how they do that.
Okay, so Andy, let's get your thoughts on It's a Sin.
It checks a lot of boxes for me. It is very it hooks you in right away. And like Brando was saying, Ghost has put its flavor on it, and I think it's made for Ghost. Like if you think about it in the context of the characters, and I know I bring this up several times, but it's so funny because when I was listening to this song, like back in the day and even again, I wrote like a fan fiction of Cardinal Copia and his relationships with Papa Nil and Sister Imperator to this song, because I feel like he's frustrated. You know, Nil always gives him a hard time, so I feel like this song is kind of perfect, especially at the end with "Father, forgive me. I tried not to do it," and he goes off the deep end. But it's just such a fun, singable song, danceable song. I just think they knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely. This is a Pet Shop Boys cover. I don't know if we said it. Honestly, I think this is maybe the closest, most faithful to the original song Ghost has ever done. Like, there's not there. Obviously, it's still Ghost Jam. They add their own instrumentation to it, but it is almost like minute to the second exactly the same, like pacing and everything, which is really, unique for Ghost, because they don't typically do that. Typically they bring their own style and flavor to it to give it something that makes it memorable, and in and of itself not doing a lot made it memorable, because like Brando said, this definitely has that. This is just a Ghost song. Like, I wouldn't have any clue if you didn't tell me. It's a little bit heavier, and the organ and it has an organ intro, which is slightly a little bit brighter, I think, than the Pet Shop Boys cover, or their version. Ghost makes it a total jam, though. It just jams throughout. The bridge is super epic. The Father Forgive Me bit that you were just talking about, Andy. And I'm gonna just be corny as fuck right now and say it's a sin. This is not on Spotify. What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm gonna check back in with TY. TY.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it is a sin. That I totally missed that we were doing this one, because this is a bop.
You're hearing it right now, yeah?
Well, yeah, I just finished it. Yeah, it's an absolute bop. And I think the kind of breakdown in the middle of the song where it's just the drums. Anytime that a band does that, especially in like a live setting, it just gets me so like hyped, which is obviously the intention. But yeah, I'm a person that likes covers a lot anyway. A lot of people, they stand on their soapbox and they shoot down covers, and I'm all about it. So I love that they do this, and I love that we get an opportunity to talk about something a little bit different at the end of every episode.
So TY, I know it's maybe a little unfair. It was your first listen through, but
No.
objectively, go ahead and rank it.
No, I think a 6.5 is totally justified given my circumstances. So
Okay.
on first listen, 6.5.
Okay, so Brando, what you got, my brother?
7.75.
Andy.
8.8.
Okay, so I gave it an 8.25. Again, I just think this song is really good. We're moving on now to Avalanche, a Leonard Cohen cover. Brando, lead it off for me. I'm really intrigued to get your thoughts on this one.
Well, I hate to disappoint you. I don't really feel this one, man.
Interesting.
At all. This is the downest song. It had a weird vibe to it. I couldn't click with it. It has decent riffy riffs later on, but I never really I listened to it. I went back to it a few times because I'm like, what are we going for here? And I don't know what they're really going for. It's a weird one for me. This is definitely an outlier for sure when it comes to like Ghost, because I feel like I haven't given too many low ratings, and this might break that streak.
Okay, Andy, what's your thoughts?
I didn't have a lot of notes for it. Ghost did take it up a notch, but like Brando said, I didn't really feel the song. 2:30 mark is where I feel like it kind of kicks off. I love how Cardinal Copia just adds his darkness to it, because it is a little bit heavier than the original. And I love the production, but I probably listened to it maybe once or twice when the album came out, and then a couple times again to give it a ranking. But I don't know, it's just like a out of nowhere kind of cover for me.
Okay. So we talked about it being a Leonard Cohen cover. I went and listened to his version. You want to talk about weird and disjointed? Do yourselves a favor and go listen to that guitar and try to figure that shit out. I was like, wait, what? He is doing some weird. He's a folk artist, right? So he's playing in his element. I think that Tobias, like naturally, every voice of Papa is rooted in his love for Leonard Cohen. It's so similar. When you hear Cohen sing this song, you're like, oh shit, I've heard this. That's one of the things I like about Ghost, and I didn't even realize it. You know, like, and I do encourage you guys to go back and listen to it yet again, because I honestly can't say which version I like better. I do think that Leonard Cohen's guitar itself is disjointed. I think Ghost makes it a total fucking jam. Ghost adds some depth to it. Cardinal, his voice is just super eerie in how it's sang. This one's slightly shorter than the Leonard Cohen version. The heavy outro with the full band is super epic because it starts with Not and then it builds into that, which is super cool. I just don't know how these 2 tracks are not on Spotify. My guess is probably rights. They don't have the rights to stream it, and because of that, Ghost ain't worried about it. At some point, they'll put all that on there, I'm sure. But interestingly, I forgot about this song. And when we were discussing doing Prequelle, I was like, does Prequelle even have any bonus tracks? And then like I was like, It's a Sin, yeah, cool. And then I was like, oh my god, Avalanche, like I fucking love this song. So I was I'm kind of so far surprised at Andy and Brando not finding connection with it. Not to say that we all are going to have exactly the same taste, but I thought there was something very earnest about that song, and there's a lot of truth to what he's saying about the world. It's a great cover for them because of exactly that, the message that it's spreading. TY, give me some thoughts on Avalanche.
Unfortunately, Nate, I'm kind of with Andy and Brando on this one. You know, the tone is realized. It's dark and menacing, and I appreciate what he's doing vocally with that. The drums are right there. It kind of feels like, you know, just for me, it like transported me away to like some kind of like tribal ceremony, you know, or like a frontier judge is putting somebody on trial or something like that. But just overall, I did not dig it. Not really my jam.
Okay, so let's get the ranks. TY, you'll kick it off.
I'm going to give it a 6.
I gave it a 9.15.
9.15.
Yep, 9.15.
I also gave it a 6.
Brando.
3.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay, so we are now officially done with the back half of Prequelle. Those were the bonus tracks. And then after Prequelle, something really interesting happened. We know that Ghost is known for doing this, but they did it a little bit differently this time. It wasn't 4 or 5 songs of covers that they released. They released 2 completely new tracks in 2019 or late 2018. And it was for 7 inches of Satanic Panic. I'm going to get the actual release of that pulled up here in a second. Oh, it was 2019. I was right.
2019 is what Spotify says.
And it was September 13th. So literally almost we're like, you know, what is that? 4 years ago to the day. We're like, a couple weeks away from that. But this is only 2 tracks on this. We're going to talk about Kiss the Go-Goat first. I'm going to lead it off. This song is simple. It's very simple. It's very 70s. It's got that TY, I think, said the Doors earlier. That definitely has a Doors influence. The riff maintains throughout, which is old school trick. Chorus is that riff. Verse is that riff. They go off the riff a little bit, but it's still pretty much that riff the whole time. The pre-chorus slaps. Satan, Lucifer, Osculum Obscenum, and then there's that kiss. Oh, perfect. The synth first solo is really great. It goes into the guitar second solo. This song, I have a question, and I want your guys' consensus. Is this song about banging the devil? Like, is that real? Like, is that usually there's double entendres and other things. And like for a minute, I'm not going to lie, I was like, he said the words magical mystery. He's secretly talking about Scooby-Doo because I'm pretty sure this came out around the anniversary of Scooby-Doo as well, like almost to the day. Andy's she's shaking her head. Yeah, like, yeah, that's right. So I'm just not sure what the actual meaning of the song is. If it's as simple as actually just banging the devil, cool. If there's more, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. TY, give it to me.
I tell you what, here's another one that's catchy. I really, really like the vocal distortion. And another one that the tempo speeds up and it's so catchy and like, you know, Brandon says it's sing-songy. I don't have a whole bunch of notes for this one, but this is one that I think if it would have been right along with the 10 songs that we did already on the regular album release, you know, I think this is another one that would have just went right in a row, getting ranked high from a couple of us.
Absolutely. Brando, you're next, my guy.
Well, you said it, Nate. I wrote kind of Dordsy. And
very Blue Oyster Cult.
Yes. Sudden tone change in the chorus with the Satan references feels very 2 albums like. So like that's a cool little like a thematic callback into kind of stuff that they did in the first 2 albums with the kind of the just sudden stops or chants and that kind of stuff. So yeah, dude, it's not a bad track at all. I dig it.
Andy, give it to us. What's your thoughts, and give me the secret knowledge of this song because I feel like you have it.
If I'm not mistaken, that Latin line is referring to actually kissing Satan's butt, if I'm not mistaken. And
Wow.
if they can chime in with that in the comments or wherever you guys are talking and listening to this podcast. But is also a very important lore song, lore video. In the music video, you will have the date in reference to that. It's kind of coincidentally like the Scooby-Doo anniversary. It's like, played it on that because everybody said, oh, it's just Ghost is just Scooby-Doo chase music. What's wrong with that? But I did write that I love how old-fashioned it is. I love that old tones and the lyrics. It's like fun praising Satan, fun messing around with Satan, you know. But it's good to note that these 2 songs are not Cardinal Copia. If you really look into it, this was Papa Nil's era. These are his songs. That's why maybe they might sound a little bit different than Prequelle or Meliora, whatever the case may be. But it's a really great song, and I love when they play it live. And lately, in the last few videos that I've seen in the shows, goals have been getting pretty frisky during this song, and so it's been fun watching all that.
So I'm curious, what do you rank the Co-Goat?
I rank 8.5.
Brando.
8.
TY.
I'm right in between them at an 8.25.
I'm gonna bring it up a little bit level. Really love this song. 9.5.
Solid. 51 million plays on Spotify.
It's up there. Definitely up there. All right, we are ending the 7 inches of Satanic Panic with the I already know. TY, pull the number up. The hands down most fucking played ghost song on Spotify all time in the history of the band.
I got
Mary on a Cross. Andy, lead it off for me.
So surprisingly, like when this came out, I wasn't really into it, but I did get into it before the TikTok madness. I'll just say that because I know that's going to come up at some point. But what an interesting, beautiful song. It's like telling a story, the history maybe of the band. I love all the little things that are going on in the background. Oh, the harmonies, all the backing vocals. It's been such a trip trying to sing this song, cover this song because of everything that's going on. I love I don't know if it's like an organ for the main riff or like the guitars mixed in. It's really, really pretty. I will note, and probably going to put this on the Spotify notes, is that this is Ghost's first platinum song, if I'm not mistaken. I think they just announced that it went platinum, but
that's awesome.
Man, that was due to TikTok's madness, which Tobias had no idea what TikTok was. So I just think it's crazy that a song that was released like quite a few years ago has just done so many good things for the band.
Blown up.
Yes. I mean, there's good and bad things that come with that. It's a whole discourse, but the song itself, I do get emotional with the few times that I've heard it live, and I don't know why. It's just something so beautiful. I think another part of it is that they used to play it towards the end, and I'm like, it's ending. I don't want to leave Ritual yet, so I get emotional about that. But it's a very beautiful song, a great song.
You couldn't have said it better. I think that musically this song is flawless. Lyrically, it's so profound. This it's funny that you mentioned the band, because this song actually makes me think of touring with my old band and being on the road and actually driving really late at fucking night from Detroit and just blasting Ghost to keep my ass awake. And this would be one of the jams, so like it definitely takes me there. The solo lead into the verse 2 is simple but super awesome. The breakaway to just Papa singing is unsettling but so beautiful. The female voices that they add at the end just like level it up, as well as, is there a marimba in this song? I can't tell. I feel like there's a little cha-cha thing happening. I just broke TY, but no, that's really what it's.
My man, is that a marimba I hear?
So I don't know. There's something just really special about Mariana Cross, and the TikTok thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. Is thanks to your beauty never really scared me as the line, but also having something to do, and I don't know this part, with Stranger Things.
Yes, I think that's the way I heard it, because at the time Eddie Munson was like getting like super popular, the character from Stranger Things, and everybody was like obsessed and in love with him, myself included. So just all these edits, like your beauty never ever scared me, because he's this punk rocker kid, he's the bad boy, and then your beauty never ever scared me. And then once, all the teens and preteens hook onto that, oof, it's over.
Hell yeah, absolutely. TY, give it to us.
This I don't have a lot of notes for this one, because I knew that between you and Andy that you guys would have a lot of better ways to articulate how I feel about this song. In my opinion, this is I know we've said that about a couple of songs, but this is the Ghost song. Right now anyway. It's just, you can't, even now, between and I don't do TikTok, but between like Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts or whatever the hell, Instagram, every time I open my phone, at least out of 7 videos, this is still one of the most used audio edits, like on all the platforms. So 438 million plays. I mean, that's a shit ton. It's a platinum song. It's awesome. So I don't have a lot of nuanced things to say. I think it's a really, really well put together song. And the outro where he just does the vibrato and then it just fades away real soft, and that just does it for me, I think. So
I'm gonna say it here first. I'm not necessarily as much of a fan of the slow and reverbed version of this song, honestly, because there's something bright and beautiful about this version. But Brando, hit me with it.
I think this is a good showcase of him mastering the formula of a great sing-songy radio track that's going to garner some more attention. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. I don't think that getting into a formula or anything like that is necessarily a bad thing, as long, because even though I can notice a formula, there's enough here that it is Ghost and we've heard it, but it's also doing something new at the same time, and it kind of stands on its own. I do agree that this is quintessential Ghost, but on this entire journey for the last week of listening to all these songs, I think my rating maybe was affected. It's great. I like it. But I think I heard so much more all at once that was maybe a little bit better. And not necessarily like gratefully better, but just like, man, I don't know, those other ones just hit me a little bit better than this. But no, it's I really like the stuff about this is the song structure and key changes as he goes to the chorus is really cool. And yeah, man, a really great song to go out on, though, because we're getting ready to go into the next episode with a really big tone change. So this song is almost kind of like a tip to the hat of maybe the older Ghost style that was a little bit more of the organs and everything. There's still some of that in the next stuff, but the next stuff definitely goes a little bit different. And this might have been them going, here's a tip to the hat to the old. We're gonna go over here for a little bit and see you later.
Adios, partner.
Maybe this isn't goodbye. It's just see you later. But here's a little treat for you guys that have been longtime Ghost fans.
I like that.
Fuck yeah, Brando. What did you rank Mariana Cross?
8.
And Ty?
I gave this one a 9. I really like what Brandon said. I definitely agree with the album that we just listened to. I think that there's definitely some better songs just overall. This one's just wrapped up in a pretty little bow, and I like it a lot.
I gave her a 9.75. Wanted to give it a 10. Wanted to really badly. Fun to note live, I think, not always, but sometimes he says at the end of the song, marijuana cross, which cross joint. Let's do it. I'm excited. Give it to us, Andy. What's your tally?
9.5.
Dope.
Nice.
Hell yeah. So it's interesting because 7 Inches of Satanic Panic is an original 2-song mini album. So Brando, will that somehow factor into our master? Like, I never even considered how that would work, because just much like Square Hammer, it kind of stands alone.
Okay, so on Spotify, it's listed under EPs. So it's not a full album release. So I have it listed just like we have the main albums, and then we had like If You Have Ghosts and Pope Star. So for the If You Have Ghosts and Pope Star, those are just single. Like, since we rank all the songs, those are just those songs ranked because they vary in track density. So you have like this one, which has 2 tracks, and then you have Pope Star, which has like 5 or 6 or something like that. So it's kind of like uneven in that rate, because we rated these 2 songs really great. So this would be an instantly great EP versus like Pope Star, which might get brought down by a song that maybe we didn't really dig as much as some of the other ones. But
like that.
But that's kind of how I've been doing EPs along the way. We did that for Alice in Chains and stuff like that, and then for Metallica we did that with Garage, the covers. That didn't count separate. But at the end of the road here, we are going to be doing the top, the album rank in order from lowest to highest, and then all the songs, the top 10 songs. I'm going to go through after we're done ranking. Mid show, we're going to take like a little 10-minute little like discussion wrap up, and then we'll go into the final ranks. But I'm going to figure out what the top 10 songs are, and maybe the top, like how the covers. We have to see how many covers we have by the end of it, but kind of like
be a lot.
We can do bottom songs. Sometimes that's fun, but we don't necessarily have to. I think I think we did that for Metallica and Van Halen, but the reason why we did it for Van Halen is because there were some stinkers.
Oh yeah, there's a whole album of stinkers,
and so that caused us like a really good chance for us to like reminisce and joke a little bit. But I don't really think that might apply. I mean, there's not too many like low rated. I mean, it'd be an interesting stuff to look at. But see, for Ghost though, that would kind of end up being like maybe the lower ones would be some of the instrumentals, and it just kind of doesn't, like, okay, yeah, that stuff that kind of makes sense. But yeah,
okay,
that does us for today, I think, right?
Correct. So I want to say one thing before we get out of here, just so our listeners know, just so our fellow rankers can know. Next week is our last episode, I do believe.
Yep.
We're going to be covering Impera.
Yep.
We're also going to be covering Phantomime and the 7-inch single Stay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are everything that Ghost has done to this point, all the songs we intended to rank. And then, like Brandon said, we're going to go through. We're going to figure out how this all actually played out and what we ended up creating here. Because that's kind of like the most fun part about this, is determining. And as Brando can tell you, we have had top ties and had to figure out how to make that work. So I'm excited to see where we go there. But Brando, I'm going to kick it back to you. Please let these fine, beautiful folks know where they can find us if they have not already found us. I don't know how you got this far, but
We're all over those interwebs and podcast platforms. If you can't find us, please let us know. Reach out to us at Rank 'em All on all your big social media platforms that are out there. We're there. We're, sometimes a little quiet. It's hard to update, but, when we start releasing stuff, we start getting active again, and we start really promoting stuff. So check us out on there. Reach out to us with your ranks, because as you listen along, we like to hear what you guys have to say. Comment down below on the YouTubes, because YouTubes is where the video is at. We got our pretty little faces up there on the screen. You can see us break each other and walk off screen like Nate. Buckles made Nate walk off screen so many times.
So many times. His unpopular ass opinions.
I love it. It cracks me up every time. But we're all there as well. Search Rank 'em All Podcast. Rank'emAll.rocks is the website. Go there to check out the podcast as well.
All right, I'm going to double down here. Andy, we got to make sure they all know where you can be found. But also, just to confirm with our audience, that is a Prequelle shirt, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes, this is actually from Rats on the Road when I saw him in 2018. So
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Hell yeah. So let people know where they can find you.
y'all can find me on Instagram at sister_crimson. I also have a YouTube channel, Andy Crimson. I post reaction videos, mukbangs. Sometimes I do random haul videos talking about ghosts. So yeah, you should go check that out if you want to sit back, eat something, and chill out with me.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Rank 'em All. This was Rank 'em All Ghost talking about Prequelle. I've been Nate for Brando, TY, and Andy. We'll see you all in the next one when we finish this one up. Have a great one. Rock out. Later, guys.